for that super
chat there.
Everybody,
I will.
It's a crazy Friday just before the end.
See the Republican Party for
the
who they are.
weekend,
The real America First nincompoop Nazis.
Just
who were delusional.
What we're going to talk about, because this weekend is going to be interesting.
Delusion. No reality whatsoever. We are at the intersection of WrestleMania and real life. And the MAGA store is on one corner and the GAC store is on the other.
You know,
that's right, GAC.
Dashboard.
That's Ron DeSantis. Great American comeback. GAC. MAGA and GAC.
You'll be fine.
That's it.
Don't worry.
Are you kidding me?
Two minutes in one.
Alan
That's
Tony.
it.
And
you couldn't sum it up any better.
You
couldn't sum it up any better than MAGA and GAC.
Thank you, MAGA.
Ooh, baby. I'm excited. I'm super excited about the fight between Ron DeSantis
that's what MAGA's got
and Donald
going
Trump.
now.
Apparently, there was some news
Isn't that what,
with Donald Trump. I totally missed it because I couldn't help but to see the pussy-ass bitch cat fight going on between him and his supporters. Now, you may say something like, well, Tony,
I know I'm going a little overboard.
You're just in these Twitter spaces, and these Twitter spaces aren't really where it's going to happen. Bullshit. I don't know if you know who the people are in these Twitter spaces, but I'm telling you, these people in the Twitter spaces are the ones who are trying to fucking push the narrative of the Republican Party.
They're
trying to push the narrative of this primary, and they're trying to set the stage for the battleground that they want to have happen.
Full of shit.
How do you think this works? See, this is the one thing that Democrats and liberals always discount. They always discount the ability of people to set their narrative.
And see, most of that narrative has been set online in a way that wasn't being paid attention to.
Liberals and the left always think that the mainstream media drives this shit. They do not have to drive the messaging. That is not true at all. We have way more power than what we've ever had in the history of this country and the history of politics. We have way more power now.
Thoughts like he's talking about,
to be frank,
are just
to
pushed
yesterday's
over
point
and
when
over
we were
again.
talking about Twitter and Twitter spaces, about the mainstream media, of course, the mainstream media has less influence now than maybe they had 10 years ago.
A lot less.
On the driving of the messaging and the narrative. But it doesn't mean that they don't understand the media.
Not gone.
But we have full control. And until we actually realize that, because that's where the left and liberals and Democrats in general have failed over the last 30, 40 years, is they react to the national narrative. They react to what the Republicans are doing. Fuck that. We set the narrative. We drive the political messaging. That's what we can do as the pro-democracy coalition. We can do that. And one of the ways we do that is absolutely 100% fucking mock the shit out of MAGA and GAC.
Annoying. They are
and the MAGA GAC war is going to be where we win this fight of democracy, because we are going to make absolute fools out of them. The American people, I'm telling you, when the American people find out that Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis are fighting over who loved Fauci more,
who loved Fauci,
they're going to be like, what the fuck? Why are they arguing over that? Like, I want you to tell me about what you're going to do so I don't go broke because of a medical bill. I want you to tell me what the fuck you're going to do about my retirement. Medicare, Social Security. I want you to tell me what the fuck you're gonna do about making sure my children start school at 3 instead of 5, and that they eat lunch every day, and that we actually have public school.
Don't pay attention to what they're talking about. Come over and look over here.
How about what you're gonna do with roads and bridges and infrastructure in this country? How about that?
What's his name? Fred Roth.
How about that? How about what you're going to do for the American people? Nope. All they're going to do is fight over, I won in 2020. Their election was rigged. I liked Fauci less than him. Fauci didn't tell me what to do. He told him what to do. I want to pardon the January 6th political prisoners that were involved in a violent insurrection to overturn the government, to make Donald Trump the king of the castle.
Fucking political prisoners, and do not start this shit in any way, shape, or form that you are.
That is what their message is.
You are not. What you are is a person who believes in white supremacy and hate and does not want this country and democracy to continue. And that is what Donald Trump
As if
wants.
the American people give two
He wants
shits
a
about what their
dictatorship.
neighbors,
An integral part of American history.
who they want to marry and who they
Fucking,
want to
I'm
love.
going to take
Get
over
the fuck
everything
out of here with that
dictatorship.
nonsense.
How America works.
As long as you're not telling them what to do, you can't tell other people what to do.
He cannot have that.
This is all weird.
Sorry, I
ridiculous
forgot to
stuff,
turn on
folks,
my
But it is the time that we
auto
live
level.
in. And boy, what a time to be alive.
It's now on.
It's a QAnon world, folks. We're just living in it.
Right, hold on.
Okay, so this is the oil industry area. So
I am
what I'm
really
going to do
upset.
is I'm going to
telling you.
grab
You should be excited
me
too.
a trimmer.
A lot of people are really just in a fervor this morning and pissed off, and they're really upset. The mainstream media is exceptionally upset that Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump are talking about pardoning the January 6th insurrectionists on the heels of Stuart Rhodes being sentenced to 18 years in prison for his conviction of seditious conspiracy.
Thank you.
I'm excited about that. I'm not fucking upset. We should be surprised that these treasonous motherfuckers like Republicans want to pardon a bunch of treasonous pieces of shit that would support overturning the government for them. We're supposed to be surprised? Fuck out of here with that nonsense.
Thank you.
Stop acting so surprised. Stop acting so mad that that's their stance.
That's all they want.
That would be their stance. They're vile
That's all they
pieces of
want to
Nazi
do. That's
shit.
all they're about.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Like,
Let's
subscribe,
defeat
blah, 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 blah,
Let's
blah,
fucking
blah.
defeat
Happy Friday.
them, and not just at the top of the ballot. Let's
Boston
work
Brian's going to be on in a little bit.
down the ballot.
There's a bunch of stuff going on, so I wanted to.
I just want to see what he's going to be, because we know it's the budget. It's the budget.
Not the least.
It's the budget.
Brett
Dumbasses.
Kavanaugh is trending.
These treasonous pieces of
I have to say, okay, when the conservative majority of the Supreme Court so bungles their interpretation of federal law that they lose Justice Brett Kavanaugh, you know they've truly erred. Right, this is, let's see. Were they referencing directly? Lawrence Tribe jumping right in there.
Overturn the government.
Of course, Tribe be in.
Okay.
Tribe be in. Tribe
Kavanaugh
be in.
fellow conservatives for a good reason. The fact that Kavanaugh broke with it. This is in relation.
No, you could actually now ride the tram
Supreme Court significantly
from anywhere in the city
Water Act,
all the way out to your
limiting the
oil
types of
job.
bodies of water that are included as wetlands
Over
protected
here.
from pollution under that act.
And then
That's a
soon
good
you'll
day
be
for
able
polluters and
to
a bad day for those worried
gotta
about the
figure out where I'm
environment.
gonna put
Predictable.
everything else.
This is a court that is going to consistently make decisions and embrace a skeptical view of the power of executive agencies. The court's ruling isn't merely practically pernicious for those who care about the environment. It's legally wrong. Judges, as the conservative court is fond of reminding us, are jurists, not lawyers. Judges should clarify that words, what words and phrases in the law.
Thank you. Not try and make law, because that's exactly what they keep doing, and we need to fix that.
That is what the court did.
Because I'm sorry, what they did.
You want to
read
have
that
outrage,
fucking goddamn
direct
opinion
outrage, and you do it correctly.
for
you do it
getting
loudly,
rid of
you do
Roe.
it proudly.
It is bullshit.
Clarence Thomas.
Speaking of that,
It
I
is
have a great
bullshit.
guest today. Oh my gosh! And he didn't even know.
But that's okay.
talked to
I think
Joe
that's,
yesterday. He didn't even know he was
maybe-
being recorded when this happened. We showed this video, and I'm going to replay the video.
Maybe
We're gonna have plenty of
maybe
questions
them
for
getting in
Joe,
trouble
and I hope
more
you have
and
plenty
more
of time to join us.
might be a good thing for
We're
all
gonna
of
go
us.
to break here and bring Joe back.
I know it's crazy to say
I'm
that.
telling
Hold
you,
on, let me
not
do
all
two
heroes
things. I need
wear capes, but sometimes they ride red bikes. And he didn't even know he's being recorded that day. And he is a hero because he was loud.
He had no
was
no
proud.
clue. He was
knew
just doing it to
disrupt them.
interrupt them.
Even if he
didn't even
know
put
he was
his
being
own
recorded,
camera on.
His job was to
Holy
was
shit,
to
he did such a great
interrupt
job.
and disrupt.
He
the
is
nincompoop
my
Nazis.
hero.
That's the
He's
point.
actually on the.
That's the whole
if you
point.
go
That's the
to
point of this
Tribe,
show, to be quite frank, and that's what we're
or,
going to continue to
Toast,
do
I
every single
believe,
weekday, Monday through Friday, noon
and
Eastern,
even
11 Central, 9
Mattson,
Pacific.
our background
You know what that means?
is the next person that Tony is about to interview here at the bottom of the hour.
Tony Michael's podcast on YouTube.
And
You're not gonna miss a single
they
Let's
call
go
this
with-
whole thing like this is the federal government trying to use the Green New Deal to take over people's property. That's where that came from.
No.
And this is this Clean Water Act requires that people obtain a permit before dumping a pollutant like dredge or fill material into waters of the United States. Wetlands that are adjacent to waters covered by the act, like rivers or lakes, are included under the definition of waters of the United States. The question before the court is the case in which wetlands are considered to be adjacent to a body of water covered by the act and therefore itself protected by the act. While the court's ultimate decision was unanimous, its reasoning was splintered. A thin 5-member majority of the court, defying basic rules of legal interpretation, concluded that adjacent means adjoining. No, it doesn't. That's fucked up.
Huh?
That's
No. What? What?
That's like saying you'd need a
No,
you need
those
a
are two
surgeon
different.
to separate twins that are standing next to each other.
Right. No.
These twins are adjacent. These twins are adjoined, are conjoined.
Yes. It's just,
Kevin
I don't.
points out,
How do you know?
Define the word adjacent as meaning adjoining.
See again, this is the bullshit of their bullcrap.
Two problematic ends. First,
Like no, don't remake a fucking word.
Covered by the Clean Water Act
because it's what you want.
Yeah. Kavanaugh notes that this will have significant repercussions for water quality and flood control throughout the United States. In case we need concrete examples, it is Kavanaugh who reminds us the court's decision would have deleterious effects for Mississippi River's flood control project.
Mississippi, bunch of
by the way, the
Mississippians
states also have their own Clean Water Act.
Mississippians.
If you have an Amazon Prime account, listen, I can do one better.
Mississippi
Prime account.
If you do have a
You
Prime
get
account
one free
and you're on
subscription.
Twitch, think about doing this,
on
please.
Twitch, the follow is
For
free.
any of the people
subscription
on the
costs
screen you want to
It's
do it
weird,
for,
'cause it's
please do.
the opposite on YouTube. Anyways,
right.
The subscription. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch with your
and
Amazon Gaming account.
By the way, if you actually have
And your Twitch account, you can give us that one free.
YouTube
Janice versus AFCME and
Hey,
Eller,
you can give too.
again,
Listen to what they're saying.
TonyMichaels.com.
You can contribute.
TonyMichaels.com.
We
The link
will
is
we will
just the
we,
fourth one
none
down
of us
that
will
says
say no.
Amazon and Twitch. It gives you the exact
Because it's how a
directions
lot of
to
us
do
make
that.
our living.
We appreciate all the support that you guys give us. Whether it's through Patreon, through Twitch, here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, sharing the link every single day, getting the message out there, getting more.
Congress is, again, this matters who you vote for.
Thank
Congress, if we had enough Democrats, we could clarify that language.
Very
for
easily.
What the law means, because that's ultimately what's going to happen to keep pollutants out of rivers and streams. By the way, that are going to affect people in red states and cause cancer clusters.
Mississippi
By the time it gets to
River.
the big cities.
Do you
the
know
big
who lives
cities,
there,
places
too?
Where there are money, they can afford.
Hey, ain't one of them
filtration systems that can
shows
deal with a lot of this shit.
On TV?
Literally, in
One of the
some
big
cases.
ass shows, the ones that, you know,
Rural
they
communities
doing a
can't.
lot
People
of,
wanna fish
you
in
know,
these fucking
they do a lot of
rivers,
advertising
and
in that
upstream some
place in
dickhead is
Mississippi.
dumping chemicals into it because Justice Alito said next to is the same as connected.
Plenty of Slim Jims, Skull, Deer on that is I.
This seems like a fight between them and the dictionary.
We can certainly
Dicks.
It matters who you vote for, folks.
Thank you.
Because, yeah, if more of you had gone, maybe I'd rather have a beer with Al Gore,
Thank you.
right?
We wouldn't have been in a lot of this
could've changed
mess.
Who was
No, it ain't no.
who was on the court in that decision? Okay, and then
Stay strong.
the last guy. All right, you'll get it. One of these days, you guys will wake up and go, "Oh, I should be consistent with my vote, and only turn on my party in the case that they are
Being
grossly,
treasonous?
violently negligent, and only on the people who were so, not the name in general. You know, especially these no labels motherfuckers who want to tell us that all Democrats and all Republicans and all whatever fit under some sort of label. While, yeah, anyways. Fauci, because what, they want to hunt him down or some shit.
Yep.
Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci agree there is too high a risk that travelers from New York tri-state area have been exposed to COVID-19. I appreciate their support for my executive order requiring such individuals flying into Florida to self-quarantine for 14 days. I don't think this video will help DeSantis a Republican primary while he's griping about Fauci.
American hero. He's 100 years old, and he's got the opportunity now to get the vaccine, so we're excited. From Truman to Reagan, and he's an American.
Fauci, the national hero, agreed.
Oh, this is the love fest of Fauci
Yeah, I mean,
by
They've
Republicans
so
at the time.
villainized Fauci as if. I mean, this goes to that trend, and I think we ought to address this, if I may. Hold
Thank
on,
you.
Get out of studio.
Probably time you do that.
We got to address this at some point.
It's a good thing
Marianne
to
Williamson
think about.
posted something about like what her policy would be about like farm rules or whatever. So here I'll show you. This was like she's putting policies up, and good for her for doing it. And she just... Yeah, okay, so here it is. They modified it. It was edited. I don't quite know what the edit was, but I'll show it to you. Okay,
It'll blow up and fill out. And we'll figure it.
This is, and by the way, this is her saying generally what Democrats always fight for, which is better clarity in what's in our food and water and better safety standards and all that. Okay. But in a way that makes it look like Democrats are, have been pouring Roundup into your breakfast cereal every morning because they want you to die. We need universal health care, but we need more than that. We need to proactively create health, not just treat sickness. Again, the government cannot create personal health. You can encourage it. You can help run interference on things that will make you ill, but you're not going to create health. You aren't. You're not going to get people to eat right if they don't want to eat right. This is the same shit that when Republicans talk about we need more parental involvement in schools. Yeah, so what? That's not your fucking job. Tell me what you can fix. Politicians, politics is not the area where we need to fix our schools. We need more parental involvement. Well then, all right, drop out and have a kid and fucking be a parent then. You're a politician. There are problems with the schools. Apparently, fix them to the greatest extent you can. Otherwise, don't give an excuse or don't bitch about it. Don't say we have problems in schools. Just recognize that's how school is. The entire process of trying to educate human beings is a pain in the ass. I got
so
news
true.
for you.
So true.
Anyway, she goes, that begins with the food we eat. We need to push back the forces
here's
of
Joe
big
there.
ag.
I expected counter-protesters to be there, but I think that since they had snuck into town, there were no real counter-protesters. So they were like, most of the tourists were staying away from all of this mess.
Of course.
They just saw this group with upside-down flags and then surrounded by police officers. So all the tourists were staying away. There were a couple other people there present who were also sort of off and on yelling at them as well, calling them like blanking crackers and, things like that. So I wasn't going.
Oh, you can use. You can
say
any
the fucking word.
Okay, we're
calling
not.
them like fucking.
We're not.
There
Yeah, thank
you
you.
go.
Fuck,
We're not
call them what
scared of
the
curse
fuck
words
they
on this
are.
show. That's the
Thank
beauty-
you.
that's the
Fucking
beauty of the internet
crackers.
and the
Thank
beauty of
you.
Beat Tony Michael's podcast.
Thank you,
We're
Joe.
definitely not scared of the word fuck.
Thank you.
So you get there. Now, my question is, the police officers, you said there was a lot of police officers there.
Yeah.
A lot of them seem to be on bikes, at least in the video that you were in. Did it seem like they were protecting Patriot Fronts, or they were really just making sure they didn't get out of hand? Or what was law enforcement's job on
They
this
did not want to be there.
witnessing it?
Well, so obviously the Patriot Front must have talked to police before they came to town.
Right.
Because there was like 50 bike cops surrounding them.
Right.
So there was some sort of coordination between the Patriot
Right.
Front and the police.
But you could tell.
Maybe for their
Most of them did
protection
not want to be
or DC's protection. I don't
Right.
really know. But yeah, they were surrounded by cops.
I gotcha. So how long were you actually there? I'm going to bring in Gabe Sanchez. He's joined us here. How long were you actually there, like on the scene? This is Gabe Sanchez. This is the co-host, by the way. I know you guys haven't met.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We always
for
like
your work, because that was some good work, baby.
for the fascists in this country. It's always a great thing. So
Yeah.
what was? How long did this last? Like how long? And did you scare them away? Like when you started yelling, we're like, oh no, we got it, and they spread like cockroaches, or what? What was it like after the video? Because we see the video where you're mocking.
Yeah.
Did you pull up a good version of that?
Mom don't like you.
You're talking.
Your dad don't
Yeah,
like you.
I was there. It was like 15 minutes. This guy was giving this speech, and he kept having to pull out his speech because he couldn't remember it, which I thought was ridiculous. I mean, this is your big event. You can't remember your speech. That was, I think, the thing which offended me most of all, weirdly enough, was like, it was just so unprofessional because he kept having to pull out his speech. And I'm like, why can't you memorize your speech? And yeah, and that
that's
really
funny
got
that
on
you
his
mentioned
nerves.
that, because you're very familiar with DC, right? Because you're a photographer there in DC. You live there. It's your home, and so you're very familiar not just with like the different areas, but you're also familiar with when people have protests. I mean, you experience a lot of protests because you are right there in DC.
Yeah, and I think that really helped me because I knew the rules basically of protests in DC. That the police were there to sort of basically the police just want to keep everybody separate. That's their mission.
That's all they care about.
Protesters and counter-protesters separate. They don't want people mixing it up in the middle of the street and fighting. And so I knew that as long as I stayed on the other side of the police line, I could say whatever I want. And that's sort of like the Patriot Front was in a public space. I'm in a public space. We can both say
whatever
we both have
the fuck
free
we
speech
want.
rights to say whatever we want. And DC is really good about that. And respecting that.
Because they're used to that protest. And Robbie brings up a good question here on YouTube, speaking towards this angle here. He says, is Patriot Front getting protest permits? So did they have a permit to be there that day? Or do you know, did you check on this afterwards? Or what was the actual organization of Patriot Front surprising DC with their little parade, as you called it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, my understanding of the rules in DC is that you don't need a permit to protest. Like, the DC police like you to have a permit, but you don't necessarily need to have one. Because there's lots of sort of protests which just sort of spring up in the street and march around, and DC police sort of... it's not like other places like Florida where they would just beat the hell out of you. I mean, the DC police sort of try to keep everybody safe and will block off the street even if you don't have a permit for a protest.
Right. If one kind of springs up. We've seen this before. We're not really exactly protests, but even big celebrations. One of the ones that we witnessed before that was kind of inspiring to our country was when Barack Obama came out late one night and announced that Osama bin Laden had been killed, and that they captured him, and this big, huge mass of people just kind of converged on DC and around the White House, and it was one of the most spontaneous things in the middle of the night that I've ever seen. Of course, you probably experienced this before, but tell us about DC in general, because I think people are interested in that. Because Margie brings up a good point. She said she's almost finished with your book, and I want you to plug your book and your stuff later, but tell us about your experience in DC and how Trumpism and MAGA has kind of changed this, because I assume that you were there in the city the day of January 6th and the aftermath of January 6th. So tell us about how all that's changed since you know DC so well.
Yeah, I'm a writer and a street photographer, so I've photographed lots of protests. And yes, the Trump era was terrible, and especially the year 2020 was particularly awful in DC. And that whole lead up to January 6th was in like November, December 2020 was awful, where you had two big rallies, pro-Trump rallies in November and December of 2020, where basically Trump forces were allowed to do whatever they want.
Again, white men.
Proud Boys marched around the street. They beat people up who they thought were Antifa, just random people. They, vandalized churches. I mean, they basically just ran riot, and there wasn't really any counter-protest to them. And, like, I actually witnessed that, too. And, like, being like, I think part of this is like white privilege on my part as a white male. Like, they're not going to hassle me. But like, I witnessed the Proud Boys threatening like literally like kids who were carrying like a Black Lives Matter flag on Black Lives Matter Plaza. I mean, these were like full ass grown men, like 5 or 6
dumb ass white boys
on a Sunday morning, threatening a couple of kids with a Black Lives Matter.
Call them what they are, dumb ass white boys.
Thugs. Just absolutely
because they're fucking dumbass.
And after witnessing that in November, December, and then on January 6th, like all of those Trump people were
calling out
staying in hotels in my neighborhood. And so I saw them. I saw that mob march up to the Capitol, and I saw they were armed. They came to fight. They had on helmets, body armor, camouflage. They were carrying weapons. They were carrying baseball bats, hockey sticks, batons, pepper spray. I mean, they came to fight. There's like, and when people say that, that it was a peaceful protest, like, no, they came to fight. And like, I saw them march up to the Capitol, and the mayor told everybody to stay inside that day because people knew something terrible was going to happen. Like, we didn't really know what was going to happen. But the mayor told everybody to stay inside that day because everybody knew something awful was going to happen. And so I watched them march up to the Capitol, and then I saw them come back that evening where they all celebrated back in their hotels. And it was like and that just was the most disgusting thing I'd ever witnessed. ever.
Amazing.
To see them celebrate.
Right.
Even the next day when they left town, they were all waving their Trump flags around like they were done something great.
Right, something great.
And
Something right.
witnessing that
Something
just made me enraged that they could just get away with that.
With this shit.
Since
White
then, that's
supremacy.
why I think I
You do
became,
not understand, dumb white men.
less
This
of
is
a
what we let
bystander
them get
and more
away with.
somebody who would go out and protest.
Well, we really do appreciate it. Let's show the video here of you not putting up with being a bystander anymore, but getting in the fight. Let's see if I can get this clip here. This is one. Let's see. This is one version of the video. There's several versions of the video of you.
I love
you
these.
doing this
Watch
again.
this.
You're not aware of people videotaping at this point. You're just going down to be the loud
annoyance
kryptonite
to
of the
these
fascists.
mother effers.
Yeah.
Show your face.
I would love to speak of our nation's great
Wear
history,
Walmart khakis.
of our peoples. There is simply no time. If we do not will be
No one likes
no
you.
memory of America to
Your mom
continue,
hates you.
no
Your
history
friends hate
to fight
you.
for.
You were the losers of your high
We have
school
gone
class.
out
Thank
to
you.
this once
You're a bunch
great
of
country
incels.
and found
You're a bunch of incels.
a cast
You're
of
sloppy.
death.
Thank you. You're sloppy. You're not even matching. You all have different.
And
Reclaim your virginity.
anarchists.
Okay. I have to say, Joe, that the
Reclaim your
reclaim your
virginity.
virginity really got me. I think that's actually when I found this video. I'm like, oh, that's the one. That's how I retweeted
Reclaim
with your
your
quote,
virginity.
Reclaim your virginity, because I think that really describes Patriot Front more than anything. Because their slogan, of course, they had a big
Oh,
banner.
my
You can see there. It's
God.
called Reclaim
Reclaiming
America, because it's about white
Yeah.
supremacy, right?
Yeah.
It's about this great replacement stuff. But Gabe, you've done videos, and Gabe, he's done videos of Patriot Front about U-Haul mocking them. The last time they were in D.C., he has a video where he puts underwear, whitey tighties on his face because it just looks. And he posted that video when Patriot Front was in, and your video and the video of you was trending. And boy, I tell you, Gabe Sanchez and you are like allies here, because Patriot Front hates you almost equally at this point. So, Gabe, do you have any questions for Joe?
Yeah, so actually, it seems like there's a question from the chat.
Yeah.
Have you faced any backlash now that you've been kind of presented before everyone to say that's the guy that was on the red bike? He's the one that spoke out against these fascists. Like, have you received any sort of backlash? Obviously, you've received a lot of positive thanks and attribution, but is there anyone on the opposite end?
No, I mean, there was like a few just sort of snarky comments, but I haven't received any backlash. I mean, people, online were saying, "Oh, the Patriot Front are feds." I mean, that was sort of the.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That one's great.
Yeah, that was sort of the. I think that's what they're going for the right wing.
Yeah, they seem to be. It seems even from.
I think I'm going to do this.
2021, I want to say they've had this, idea that they're feds, they're the FBI. Even when the videos of their, when they were doing Nazi salutes and doing their weird erotic strip search thing, they're like, these are the feds, and it's like, I'm sorry that you don't like the fact that you're being made fun of right now.
Well, that's a good point. And you've been around a lot of feds because you're in D.C. where it's just like the home of the feds, right? So tell us
exactly.
Explain to the audience why Patriot Fronts and why these Nazi movements are not feds. They're not feds. They're actual Nazis. They're neo-Nazis. These are fascists. These people are
idiots. They're dumb white boys.
Just entrenched in white supremacy.
They're
That's
just
what they
dumb
want
white
to get our
boys.
nation back to.
Again,
it's not
I
some
will call them what they
psyop.
are.
It's not some
They're
false
dumb
flag.
white
It
boys.
is truly fascist. These aren't feds. I mean, they could be like cops and firefighters somewhere.
Oh, yeah, but they're still dumb
Yeah,
white
that's
boys.
true. I mean, there was
Responsibility,
the DC lieutenant, right, that he was
Right.
just indicted.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah,
for
exactly.
helping give intel to the Patriot Boys.
Right,
Or
but
the Proud Boys.
Well, it
Dumb
is
white boy.
confusing, right? Patriot
Yeah, yeah.
Front, Proud Boys. But tell us, Joe, how you know that Patriot Front and some of these other groups they're not feds. It's not some psyop. This isn't some weird conspiracy. Tell us how you know that because of your experience in D.C.
Because if they were feds, I think they would be better organized. And
Thank you.
dressed,
Hello.
Because,
Thank you. If you're going to be feds, at least be better organized than
there's a
that.
difference between seeing photos
Thank
of something and being up close and personal. Like in photos, they kind of look like a military unit. But if you see them up close and personal, you notice the flaws that they were all wearing different color pants. Like, you know, they're supposed to be in uniform, but they're all wearing different kind of khakis, different types of brown and tan. And so they weren't uniform and wearing different types of boots and shoes and so on. And the way they marched, they were not marching in, I mean, they weren't really like a military group. I mean, especially if you contrasted them versus the police who surrounded them, who were like the real deal.
On the bike.
I mean, the police were
on their bikes.
In their professional uniforms, and they obviously worked together as a team, and they knew what they were doing. They weren't like these guys, and they were carrying plastic shields too. The Patriot Front people, like these plastic, like
what the
Fisher Price shields. It just looks ridiculous. So
stupid.
Because
they want to be military, and they're not.
They didn't impress me as a military or paramilitary.
Thank you. And they wouldn't be able to pass. Or if they did get in, the ones that do get in get kicked out. Too often.
Came to DC to march around.
Or leave early because of
there's near where I live on the weekends, like every other weekend or so, there's a bunch of people who do who cosplay, and they go out and they do sword training and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And they perform. And there's a lot, and like I have more respect for those guys who do it as a hobby than these guys who try to go out there and be like, we're these guys who are going to reclaim America. And it's like, what are you reclaiming?
We are America.
The whiteness in this country. You're triggered and upset that
You're just triggered and upset.
A
dumb
person
white
of color
boys.
or a woman or someone from a marginalized community getting a voice and a say. But yeah, I have more respect for the guys that are at the park that are LARPing.
Yeah, for the right here on YouTube says LARPing. So
I have more respect for those people during the weekends than I do for these guys who you've pointed out who are not coordinated, who are, probably just borrowing items from their parents' house. Like I made a joke in a video that the shield was really just like the glass cover on a pot, right? Like that's it. They're just pulling random things to be like, yeah, I'm military. I'm a tough guy, and really they're just a bunch of weaklings.
Well, it's kind of like when you were a kid, you took your mom like a bath towel and you tie it around. Your mom would tie it around your neck, and you were a superhero, right? Or and just different things around the house. You tried to make yourself feel like a superhero, which makes me think of this. But it makes me think the contrast because earlier you were talking about like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. Coming and protesting in D.C. And it seems like the Proud Boys way more organized, way more paramilitary, way more entrenched in different tactics than this group here. This group does seem like a Fisher-Price type joke.
Oh, I like that. The Fisher.
So contrast.
Or large
you've seen
Tinker
the Proud
Toys.
Boys, obviously.
Large
you've seen
Tinker
the Patriot
Toys.
Front. So give us your take. Give us your your comparison of the two. What would you say sets these different groups apart? Seeing that the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys have now been convicted of seditious conspiracy, and we see that Stuart Rhodes yesterday, the founder of the Oath Keepers, which by the way, and for the audience, we have interviewed his ex-wife, Tasha Adams, and his son, Dakota Adams. So if you want to watch that interview, you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. But there's the playlist there for the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, and all the interviews we've done with Dakota and Tasha are there. But he was sentenced yesterday to 18 years in prison by a federal judge in D.C. for seditious conspiracy for trying to overthrow the government of the United States. So tell us the contrast between what you saw on January 6th and some of those marches before January 6th, and then these Fisher-Price goofballs. Fisher-Price fascist. I like that better. These Fisher-Price fascists that you saw just a couple weeks ago in D.C. when they were trying to reclaim their virginity. Reclaim America. Men. Tell us the difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, when the Proud Boys that I saw in November and December of 2020 came to fight, they were big, grown men. They weren't like 19-year-old guys. These were like older, bigger, like sort of roid rage kind of dudes. And they were wearing like, tactical gloves to punch people and had backpacks full of equipment like, pepper spray and things, probably more weapons than that as well.
Crazy.
And they traveled in packs and they looked
crazy
to fight. They were looking to people to provoke and to fight and then like gang up on them like 5 or 6 guys on one. And that's what I saw. I saw them trying to pick fights with people and and it would be like 5 or 6 guys against 1 or 2, kid who they thought was Antifa.
Thank you, Antifa. What is this Antifa crap?
I saw people who I think were Oath Keepers, who to me looked like the National Guard. They were all in camo gear, and they had on patches, and they had on body armor, and they had helmets on. I'm like, how do you tell the National Guard from these guys? Because they look exactly the same. And I remember in the morning, January 16th, I'm marching down the street, and I was very worried because if these people are pretending to be military, I mean, how are we as citizens supposed to know the difference between the military and the Oath Keepers? Because they all look the same. They're all in the same gear. So that's the difference, I think.
And then you had the Fisher-Price fascist, as we have coined the phrase now. Thank you so much for that we've gotten to that name for them. Joe, I know we're running out of time here with you, and I appreciate you coming. You must come back.
That is so cool.
If you ever see something in Washington and you want to talk about it, feel free. Come on the show. I know the audience will have plenty of questions about these things. If they trend on Twitter, if there's a protest, whether it good or bad, whether it be a protest of a bunch of Fisher-Price fascists or a protest against those Fisher-Price fascists. Please come back on the show. But tell us about your book. Tell us where people can find you. Give us a shameless plug, if you will.
Yeah, I have a website, joeflood.com, where I blog and share my photos and so on. And then I recently set up a website with a couple friends of mine called redbikeguy.com. And so you can buy T-shirts which say cargo pants are out.
Great.
There's a bunch of different T-shirts. Yeah,
that's great. So go follow Joe on Twitter. It's at Joe Flood. That's at Joe Flood. And go to his website, joeflood.com. Go support
cool,
Joe. And Joe, I hope you come back.
So cool.
And anytime you see something that you would like to share with us and our audience, feel free to send it to me. We'll get you on the show. We love having you here on the show. I know the audience has been wanting to have you since we played the original video where you were heckling the Fisher-Price fascists there in D.C. Joe, you are a hero, my friend. You are a hero. Keep it up. Keep being loud because they do not like loud noises. Thank you, my friend, for joining us. Everyone, stick around. We'll be right back with Bonehead of the Week right after this break.
That's it. That's what it was.
That's what's up, man.
See, I told you. Hold on. Okay, now I've got to put me in studio mode and then fix the thing again, and then add the link again.
Wait for them to come back from break,
and then we're all good. We're ready to roll. This is fun.
But I love Joe. What Joe did is just like
by
amazing.
The way,
and that's just
4
sitting
minutes
there
early.
making that noise
after all that,
getting them
roll.
and just.
I didn't want to be late to the show. That's all.
No, I appreciate it. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Boston Brian. Joining us today. Excellent. Hold on, let me switch out of studio mode, drag you over there, and I'm gonna center you a little better. That's don't move too much. I'll take care of it. That's we all work way too hard. Okay, I gotta unlock this and bring you. Excellent.
There we go.
And then lock again. And,
you're so much better at this than I will ever be.
Dude, I've had to be. There's no choice.
Just gotta do
It
it.
is simply one of those things where I'm like, all right, it's
gotta do it.
You either fix it or you die.
Or you don't
anyways,
get to do.
welcome to the show, everybody. Boston Brian, everybody. First time on House Parks Mega Worldwide, the morning show. It's a good time. It's nice to have you here.
I so very much appreciate you having me, dude. I really do.
Absolutely, and we had a nice kind of off-air conversation. When was it? 6 years ago? Jesus Christ, time flies. Because we're gonna try and help him build up a station, not unlike what we're doing here with his rig. So we'll get him there. I'm gonna.
The more voices, the better. I feel like, you know what I mean. The more people we have speaking out about these people, the subjects,
that's right.
the better, I believe.
I agree. All the work that I put into just fixing Stuttering John's green screen, I could build you an entire studio on that amount of effort. So it's totally cool. So,
it's amazing how much goes into it. It really is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a lot. As Johnny Million, my co-host on the radio show, is finding out as he's been doing his live stream lately, and he's texting me, asking me little Geek Squad questions almost daily. Like, what's that thing that does this?
It's honestly like its own language. You know what I mean? Like you start talking about some of the equipment that you need, and it's like you might as well be speaking a different language.
Absolutely. So, anyways, we're doing a bit of a crossover here. Ladies and gentlemen, Boss Brian, Brian, when did you start, and how did you roll into this? Because you and I discussed this, but maybe some of the folks don't know, and this is your introduction to them. That little the quickie.
So basically,
the wiki,
I was one of those assholes that had a big mouth and opinions on stuff, but never was ever involved politically, didn't vote or anything like that, and I just sat on the sidelines and complained like an idiot. And then
he got involved. Oh no, hold on, not you.
And he gave us.
There were many things. There were many last minute contenders that I'm like, oh God, not enough. You weren't talked about enough, or compared to this person, not enough of bonehead. Still a bonehead, right? Not enough of a bonehead.
And then we have special appearances in the Alpha Cuck and the dishonorable mention. So we'll get to those. So let's do it. Let's just start. Bonehead of the week.
And they're doing Bonehead. So let's swap and just go do Bonehead right quick. And then we'll come back to these guys in 1 second.
Oh, it's Friday. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend
is Bonehead of the week. And boy, do we have boneheads. It really, honestly, these three boneheads that are on the bonehead poll, all kind of it's all kind of one thing, right?
It's all related. They're all connected.
One big, huge
this is
pile
not
of trash.
Like it's going to be really good.
You'll know what I'm talking about here. Governor Ron Weirdo DeSantis, Meatball Puddin' Fingers Ron, Elon Musk, and the Cheeto Dust QAnoner himself, Grandpa Bloopy Pants, Donald Trump,
who's about to
each
get
one of
indicted
these
probably next week.
Gentlemen, if you want to give him that title,
he's going to get indicted next week.
Have appeared on Bonehead of the Week before.
I really do believe he will get indicted next week.
This is not their first appearance.
I actually believe that there may actually be a sealed indictment already on his ass right now.
Situation why they're appearing on Bonehead of the Week. So, who shall we start with first? Should we start with Elon? Should we just go there first?
Yeah, we'll probably go with Elon.
Sure, why not?
Makes sense.
Why not? What could it possibly be that Elon did this week
that would give
prompted
him
his appearance on the Bonehead of the Week poll? What could it have been?
It's almost like there was a
rollout?
How do I put this?
A rollout.
A failure of a presidential launch that he was co-sponsoring.
A failure to launch.
There was something else in the back of my mind this morning where I was like, oh, Elon also did that shit too. Oh, man, I'm blanking out. But basically, we'll start with that one. If I remember what the other one is, then I'll go with it.
Well,
but
a lot of people are knocking Elon for the Cybertruck. The Tesla Cybertruck.
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I did read about how. Oh, you know what? Actually, I remember it was connected with the Twitter space. It was the fact that Elon report from people within Twitter. They said Elon was fucking livid about the performance of the Twitter space. Even though he and David Sachs in public spaces were like, oh, it was great. People probably went by and said, what problem?
Who was he mad at? Who is still working at Twitter that he could possibly be mad at?
I don't know. Fucking bills.
There was a recent high level, I don't know if it was an exec, but a high level person at Twitter recently quit. So,
to a Kubernetes backbone that could actually spin up.
Who could see that coming? How long do you think the CEO is going to last, this new CEO?
Fuck that
a week or two? What do you think? By
into
summer?
Motherfucking great, brilliant man. Go to X.com and see what the fuck it is.
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I'll say till the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
12/31/23.
Wow. Okay.
I'll say, you know what? We'll wrap up. We'll get at least 6 months in. You'll have till the end of the year. And then she'll be like, you know what? It's not what I thought. So I'm going to make it. I could be wrong, but I'll say this. May 26th, 10:02 Pacific time, by December 31st, 2023 at 11:59:59, she'll be gone.
Oh, okay. You know what? It would be funny if it was like New Year's Eve. Elon sneaks in, cuts her off. She's no longer the CEO when you wake up.
I'm just like, because at the end of the day, like,
and Gabe Sanchez is
how long is he saying?
59 by, and then she'll be like, you know what? It's not what I thought. So I'm going to make it. I could be wrong, but I'll say this. May 26th, 10:02 Pacific time, by December 31st, 2023 at 11:59:59, she'll be gone.
Oh, okay. You know what? It would be funny if it was like New Year's Eve. Elon sneaks in, cuts her off.
Cuts her off.
No longer
just
the
cut,
CEO when you wake
similar
up.
to the way he did
I'm just like,
everybody.
at the end of the day, like,
And Gabe Sanchez is like the predictor of all
literally
predictors.
did do that.
Noster
they
Gabe is
call
over here.
me the soothsayer.
Chips
But-
and giggles.
Chips and giggles. That's what they call me.
Chips and giggles.
Noster Gabus.
Chips and giggles.
But honestly, like, the idea that I don't even know. I haven't heard anything about what she's done.
Wait, I mean, is she officially the CEO now? I mean,
well,
I
no.
honestly don't know. There was
No,
always
no.
hey,
She is
she's
not
gonna
there for
charge
6 more
over
months.
there.
So 5 more months.
When
Right.
5 more months.
does new
5 more months.
Twitter CEO start?
Well, it's funny because he tried to extend an olive branch by
In
hiring
about 6 weeks. Okay, so she's not the CEO yet. She in about 6
Oh, okay.
weeks after. So
do
May.
you think?
6
Do you
weeks?
think it within
Maybe
six?
they
I
cut it way
actually
back. I thought
predict
it was a
within
few
6
more
weeks.
months.
Maybe
I
she's
thought
like,
it was a few
nah,
more
no
months.
thanks. No,
I mean,
thanks.
it's quite possible. She could be like,
Yeah,
"No,
it's
I'm
good.
not going to do
I'm
it."
good.
Right? Which is
I'm
funny
good.
because you saw.
I'll go
all
on
these,
unemployment.
You saw. She's like, "Can I still get
Nah, I
unemployment
don't
if
think she doesn't
Right.
worry about
can I
that.
take the job?"
Yeah, right.
But the idea that when the news came out, it was
because
Elon
you don't
Musk
have to worry
before
about
that
how
was
much
like,
you're making when
mainstream
you're
media
making
is just a
$500,000 a
big
year or
propagandist
more.
machine that's pushing
I mean, I'd love to have
woke
made $500,000
ideologies,
last
and
year.
then was like, hey,
Would've
you know
been
what,
nice.
guys, I'm going to hire someone that's from the mainstream media. And then all of the people online, you had like Ian Miles Strong was like, no, guys, she's not a leftist like everyone says she is.
Ian Miles, you mean TurboFem?
I mean TurboFem. For
Oh,
those
okay.
who don't know
I just wanna-
Ian Miles Strong, you might know him as TurboFem if you,
That's how
you
I
hear that. The guy that literally lives in Malaysia but wants to talk about how women should not have rights, bodily autonomy. They should not have say in terms of their medical kind of
right.
rights.
We should vote for DeSantis.
slaves
The
to
guy,
the-
It's really weird,
no,
to
man.
white
the guy
men,
has
right?
no stakes in the U.S. political game.
System.
I
right?
wonder what it could be. It's almost like he's some sort of paid political operative.
Maybe
It's
a
crazy.
hack
It's
for
almost
I don't
a
know.
government
Maybe-
that doesn't
maybe
want the
he's
United
getting
States to
paid
actually
by someone on the
continue.
right.
Could
Maybe
be.
it's
Huh?
fucking.
Maybe.
It could be DeSantis. It could be Christina Pushaw. It
Who
could be
knows?
whoever. Right? Like.
We're 10,000 people.
Oh man, let me tell you something. When you bring up DeSantis and Pushaw, oh my God, it's so fucking delicious to watch these people fight each other. I was talking about it in the A block today about this Twitter space you were in. And since we're on Elon and Trump and DeSantis, which it's like all roads lead to fucking COVID brain with these boneheads, they could
they're
not stop
focused.
talking about it.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
could
there was
not
a
stop
Twitter. I
talking
mean,
about
I'm
it.
sure people who follow me on Twitter saw that I was in the Twitter space last night.
Yeah, you
I
spoke in the Twitter space.
Yeah. I was in the Twitter space. I was on stage. I was talking, and at like 4, I want to say it was like 4:30 something like that. I was like, they were like, Gabe, what do you think as a liberal? Like, what's your like take on this whole thing? And I was like, don't stop talking about this is great. I was like, you cannot stop attacking each other. And here's the thing, even if I point it out, like I'm just doing right now, I was like, look, you guys cannot stop talking about COVID. You can't stop talking. It was like, there's a video of Donald Trump attacking Ron DeSantis for not knowing how to handle COVID. You got clips of a compilation of Donald Trump praising.
Did you post that on your profile?
No, I didn't post that on there.
Okay. I'm
But
gonna
then
see if I can find it real quick. Keep going.
Then you've got a compilation like of 18 to 20 different instances of Donald Trump praising the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, for the way that he handled COVID. And then on separately, you've got Ron DeSantis, doing a publicity moment to say, hey, I trust the vaccine. And this 100-year-old veteran is the millionth vaccine in Florida. And they put it on, they they put it on Fox News. It was like Fox and Friends, I think. And then you've got, Donald Trump, who also got the vaccine, right? But now there's like, oh, it's for the states to decide. Oh, it's for the government. Oh, I'm anti-Fauci. I'm pro-Fauci. I'm anti-vaccine. I'm pro-vaccine. I'm anti-lockdown. I'm pro-lockdown. Like, they're focused on 2020, 2021 policies and decisions. And so I said at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, around that time, I said, look, you guys are focused on this. Is great. You guys are attacking each other.
You're still talking about 2020. You're still depressing your turnout.
You guys are so distracted.
You guys keep going. Just keep going.
I spoke again maybe a couple times. And then I came back in for kind of the last moment that I spoke, which was at an hour and 45 minutes later. And I was like, look, I told you an hour and 45 minutes ago. You should keep talking about this because you can't get off the topic, despite the fact that many people are saying we shouldn't talk about it anymore. And an hour and 45 minutes later, you guys are still talking about it. And this is the exact reason why when it comes to the election, you guys will be a party that's split because you can't come to a consensus about who you want to be the next president.
Because of COVID.
Right. It's
what the
dumb.
fuck are they doing?
Petty little
the American
things
people are not going to buy this nonsense. And here's one clip of why they're not going to buy this nonsense. This is Meatball. When the COVID, because that's the fucking main argument. They're like, oh well, this is all about March, April, and May of 2020 and the lockdowns, and then they start going into vaccine, and then they really start getting into it. So there's two issues here. There's that, and then.
So I just want to point this out. Look. I can lead them to water, and it's not to advise them, right? It's not to be like, you guys should stop talking about this because if you don't, then you have no chance. It's to call them out. And I know for a fact, if I do that, they're going to continue doing the thing that I said.
Because they have COVID brain. I'm telling you, it's just like they have genitalia brain.
It doesn't matter. I could give them the wisest advice that there is in terms of how to run the political campaigns, of what talking points actually matter and what Americans care about. But it doesn't matter. Just because I say that doesn't mean they're 100% not going to take my advice. No. And I could tell them straight to their face. And I told them at one point, and then nearly 2 hours later, I was like, look, I told you 2 hours ago. You guys are still bitching about the same shit.
Right.
And this is why it's going to fail.
And you keep talking about it.
Right.
Well, and the reason why they keep talking about this is because they can't talk about anything else. Right?
Thank you.
And it's
what else are they going to talk about?
Created an entire personality, an entire ecosystem, an entire ecosystem of anti-Fauci, anti-COVID, and it hasn't left them yet. They haven't decided. That shit's over. Let's move on. Right. I mean, Jesus Christ, even Jimmy Dore is still doing from front to back on his show is about COVID and lockdowns and vaccines. The American people, by the time we get to 2024, the American people are like, what the fuck are you? COVID was 3 years ago, dumbasses. Right. We got the vaccine. I mean, we're good to go. What are you talking about? There's no lockdowns. What the
fuck are you talking about? September, and there's going to be another one after that.
Like, keep doing it. Yes,
here's what I want to tell everyone. You should be a wedge in this fight. You should wedge between them. And if you get in the comments somewhere, in the reply somewhere, and it's like someone pro DeSantis, show them this video. Watch this video.
From Truman to Reagan, and he's an American hero. He's 100 years old, and he's got
100 years old, and he's getting the shot. This was on Fox News.
Oh, yeah. Wait a second. Ron DeSantis was for the Fauci ouchie? Is that what?
Yeah, he got it.
Oh, my. Well,
for the Fauci ouchie.
And he gave it to a 100-year-old veteran in front of the entire world with mask on? Are you kidding me?
Not only that, but that 100-year-old veteran was the 1 millionth vaccine shot in the state of Florida.
No shit. You know what's funny about this is that there's nothing controversial about this clip. Nothing. Nope. Absolutely nothing. It's exactly what Governor Ron DeSantis should have done. But they believe it's the reason why you shouldn't vote for him. Right. And that's what you should use. That's what you should politicize. That's the narrative
you should use the narrative of science and reality
because
as a reason not to vote.
They still have Fauci brain. They still have COVID brain. They still have vaccine brain where they can't think about anything else.
Literally. That's what DeSantis has become. That idiot, dumb white boy who says stupid white boy shit like science doesn't exist. Who ignores the fucking jet he gets on every fucking day. Who ignores the car he starts every fucking day that doesn't blow up in his face. That doesn't break his wrist to start.
Ron DeSantis for the way he has handled at that time COVID. Okay? Let's play it.
But none of that science or anything like that. No.
Okay, all right, and go.
A governor like Ron DeSantis of Florida is doing a great job. We're in a place called Florida, and we have a great governor.
I forgot about
this. Knows exactly what he's doing.
Terrific
job.
I'm sorry, the commercials just wrote themselves
in the fall.
During
Governor of Florida, Ron
period.
DeSantis, has done a spectacular job in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis doing a fantastic job. Enjoys very high popularity, and that's for a reason. The reason is he's doing a good job.
The governor's done a great job. Florida is down low.
He's doing a good job.
China virus.
He's done a lot of things right.
China virus.
Open and you didn't close, and it's just amazing, right?
I don't miss this man. I will be so
agree
happy
with what he's done. Ron DeSantis of Florida, the governor, is doing a fantastic job in Florida.
Your governor,
Next
Ron
week,
DeSantis, who's turned out
he
to
will
be
starting
just
his way
incredible,
to prison.
and the coronavirus you see is going down rapidly.
Proportionately, relatively, when you look at the nursing home situation, it's a tribute to your governor and government, the job they've done. You've done a really great job, and you have a very big nursing home population. You've done a fantastic job. Well, I have a lot of confidence in Ron DeSantis, a lot of faith in Ron DeSantis to make the right decision.
He's been doing a great job and working very hard.
He's a great governor. He's done an incredible job, and he's doing a great job as governor.
We have a great governor.
Ron DeSantis, great governor of Florida. He's been a fantastic governor for Florida. They're very happy with him.
Ron's doing a great job. One of the greatest governors in the country, and I know a lot of good ones, and I can tell you there's some really bad ones too. But this is a great one, Governor Ron DeSantis.
Oh man! So there's two videos.
What more proof
Are
do you
you
need?
kidding me?
Right. Well, the Ron DeSantis video that I showed you, and this one of Trump.
Oh, it's going to be
when they're pro-Trump, you show them the Trump video. When they're pro-DeSantis, you show them the Santis video. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you don't give a shit about either of these motherfuckers. The purpose of politicizing this is to drive the message to make sure that these people fight this out. Because here's what I see happening, Gabe Sanchez, is exactly what I've been saying, is that Ron DeSantis' campaign was over the minute he announced on Twitter. And the minute he really decided that Elon was going to deliver him this huge base that was going to carry him past the MAGA cult, which is fucking ridiculous. But here's the thing, is that
not so much.
We have to, in this country, we have to expose Donald Trump, because let me tell you, folks, if you think him being convicted of crimes is going to get these people to run away from him, that is one thing that I noticed that the Ron DeSantis camp is not saying. They're not like, this guy's a fucking criminal, he's a crook. They're not saying any of that, folks. They're not using using it against him hardly at all.
So this is something that was brought up in the Twitter space last night, is they were like, oh, why? And I was like, yeah, I agree with this person who's pro DeSantis right now, in the sense that all MAGA people, like Trump supporters, are fucking visceral, terrible people who do outrageous and vile things. They're very aggressive. They're very savage-like. And I was like, I actually agree with this guy, Chris. Like, I don't agree with the other shit he says, but I will 100% agree with that.
Yeah, kind of is being nice.
And it's funny because, like, I was telling you, I shit on both sides. They were like, Gabe doesn't. They said they're like, Gabe doesn't like Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump.
Yeah, because you don't like fascists.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't like fascism
for what they are and what they've done.
They're
fascists. And as a result, I had now I have a bunch of fucking pro DeSantis people and a bunch of fucking pro Trump people following me now.
I think the last
That's great. It's crazy because.
Yeah, it's
the thing that was brought up was like, oh, does Ron DeSantis even stand a chance
Bush
against Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump continues to attack.
Still not what we needed.
He attacks against personality. He attacks against appearance, whatever. Ron DeSantis definitely has those traits as well. But Ron DeSantis, his personality, other than being fucking boring and an android, is he's trying to play this like nice guy persona, right? The guy who doesn't go and attack them. He doesn't do this. And as a result, he's going to probably let Donald Trump continue to attack Ron DeSantis. He's going to let him do it, just like he let him attack him for months. He let him call him a pedophile, did all this fucking shit. Didn't say
he's still doing it.
And
what are you talking about? Have you seen his commercials as of late?
All of this stuff is is just
Especially
more
the
ammunition
online
against Ron
commercials.
DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis doesn't do anything. He doesn't speak up, doesn't say, hey, that's defamation, what you're talking about there. That's this, that's that. Doesn't say a thing. He just lets it fucking hit him, and he like turns the other cheek, right? And as
Because
a
he
result,
needs their
you're going to
voters.
see more of that. And
He
I would
needs
guarantee
his voters.
that Ron DeSantis
He
doesn't
needs
get
Trump's
dirty.
voters.
His campaign, at least his official campaign, won't get dirty. But the other people, maybe that are supporters, might. But Ron DeSantis, his persona is he's like a straight shooter, nice kind of guy, which is different than Donald Trump, which is Donald Trump is the I'm going to attack every fucking family member you have. Nothing's off the table. I won't feel sorry about it. I don't have any regrets. I'm going to say what it is, and I'm going to fucking destroy you. And those are big differences.
I hope
Big
he
differences.
does. I hope he does.
And
Well,
it's
see,
like, yeah.
And here's where the important, where the rubber meets the road in this fight. What we have to do, because Donald Trump is going to be the nominee here, not Ron DeSantis. And even if Ron DeSantis somehow has a chance, we want them to damage each other in the discourse as much as possible. And the reason why is because we have to really break up their vote. We got to break up their vote. We got to get people to lose confidence in either Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump. And by that, I mean the people on the right. And really, it's just the average Americans who really don't pay attention to this shit on day to day. I'm not talking about the cult members. I'm not talking about MAGA or GAC. I'm talking about people that are voting Republican based on affiliation, like I've talked before. But they're out of that ecosystem. But we have to show through this fight of how ridiculous Donald Trump is and how ridiculous Ron DeSantis is and how unserious it would be.
They just didn't come across as worse. We had genuine fucking segregationists.
Dangerous though, Hal.
Right.
Like I think we've definitely had worse politicians, but I don't think we've had politicians as dangerous with the intent that these people have. Like, these people have a clear intent to change this country, to make it something that
It's never been and never will be and will never work.
You know what I mean? So
yes, I agree. But here's what I would say. I would say what they want and what they can accomplish are two different things. And there were people who are way more dangerous back in the 50s and 60s, let's say, especially who
McCarthy.
their alignment of what they wanted and what they could accomplish was way fucking tighter. You know how lucky we are that these people are so stupid that they are this fucking dumb. I've said this before, but look at the Jan 6 thing. If there was a brain amongst those motherfuckers, they'd have burned the whole place down.
Right.
They absolutely would have destroyed the Capitol. The guy that got 12-7.
They're actually saying now that it's like, oh, it was just a bunch of idiots, and like, you know, I think it was Tim Pool the other day was talking about it, and he's like, so what if they went in there and, you know, even if they did try, they didn't, you know, it didn't actually happen, and they were just a bunch of idiots, and it wasn't coordinated. It's like, well, a failed coup attempt still has the word coup in it. And you still attempted to do something, no matter how harebrained and stupid it came off. That was your intention. Like,
exactly.
You can't be blind to that fact.
Oh, and they're getting sentences. Man, I'm sure you watched this over the last year, where they're like, nobody's been tried for sedition.
Nobody got sedition. Nobody got sedition.
Conspiracy, and then fucking the dude from the Oath Keepers gets 18 years.
Hello,
the guy.
It's amazing how slow our court system works. So it is fucking unbelievably.
You know what's scary? You know what's really scary? Fast courts.
No,
somebody who traveled in China.
I'd rather have dot the I's and cross the T's.
That's exactly right. And you want to give them every day behind bars that you can't.
Now,
that they deserve.
Did they add a charge onto him? Like, what? With the 18 years, somebody said that they added a terrorism charge onto him.
Yeah, I don't think they added them on. They were there from the beginning. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find.
I believe it was
everybody's just saying hi, by the way.
way.
Let me see if I can find that page in there. Hello, chat room.
Hello, chat room.
Honestly, can I just say that, like, I watch this show every day. Like, no joke. Like, behind Midas Touch and stuff. This is honestly the channel that YouTube will send me the most, and that I watch the most. So, to be on this,
I'm telling you,
if
we absolutely draw these wedges and we keep them in the year 2020, their entire race, their entire primary race is in 2020. When Donald Trump finally does get the nomination, he will not be able to tell the American people what he is going to do for them when he becomes president. That is the key here, is that Joe Biden is going to go, not only am I going to do this, 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 and this, but look what I did. I did this, 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 and this. And the American people are going to go, you know what? He gets up, he puts his fucking shoes on, and he's not a lunatic. And he's not charged with federal and state crimes.
Right.
So
I'll give you a little, personal little anecdote here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was at a show, and there's a
loving it.
family member of someone I know, and we were having a conversation. And he's a big Trumper, right? He has a Trump hat that has like it's like a metal kind of placard on there, right? He didn't have it at the show.
I thought you meant like a real metal tinfoil hat.
It's like a Trump.
That's what you were saying, like a metal tinfoil. No. Okay.
So
that's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
If they have those.
So he had this hand on that said like Trump, make America great again, right? But he didn't have it the night that we went out at this venue. So we're talking, and he's saying, he's like, oh yeah, like I got a job and I work as an engineer at this chip factory or not chip company.
Wait
right?
a second.
Yeah, this chip company,
okay,
right? So I said, I know he's a big Trumper, he's a Republican, all that stuff.
This chip
and
company.
I was like, oh man, I was like, small business. I was like, you guys are probably going to get a ton of new business with the CHIPS Act. And he was like, what'd you say? And I was like, oh, the CHIPS Act that Biden passed earlier or last year. I was like, that's probably going to be pretty good for you guys, right? And he was like, oh yeah, dude, made in America. And I was like, it's about time that we've had some competition and
America
introduce this
first,
industry
right?
for fucking
oh my God.
semiconductors and chips, producing them in America. And he was like, yeah, man, it's going to be awesome.
He didn't see it coming either, did he?
No. And I was like, look, if you talk about these issues,
that's right.
Not like, oh, he's so fucking George Soros, fucking all the socialists. If you talk about the actual policies, the bills that were passed, and you speak to them directly with the people that actually it helps, right? Like he has direct impact into his job, into his business that he works for. I'm like, hey man, it's pretty good, right? Like chips made in America, being able to compete against places like China and Shenzhen and all this stuff. And he goes, oh, it's gonna be awesome, man. Like that CHIPS Act is fucking awesome. It's great. And I'm like,
guess who passed that some bitch?
I was
not
like,
just Biden, but it was Democrats.
Right.
Guess who opposed it? Right. Can you guess?
Boom. Republicans. Yep. So it's like, it's one of those things where you like to get people to I'm not saying like agree and come over to the other side, but just to like be like, hey, you remember that one small thing? Instead of being like, oh, look at all these things at once, slowly build them up and have that conversation.
Right.
Especially if you can relate to them on a level that they know about.
And that's a great point about slowly building them up. And that's the reason why we have to know what election we're in. We're in the Republican primary cycle, folks. Yeah. And that is why we have to let them bang each other up. I've got another before we move on here. Because we got Donald Trump on, but his spawn actually.
I know. I was very tempted. It was a last minute thing. I was like, I can't. No, I've already decided. I can't do
well, I'm going to play the video anyway.
Yeah.
Spawn here, Donald Trump Jr. decides to go after DeSantis, and it is fucking hilarious that he goes after DeSantis. I still don't know. Why does he call his podcast Triggered?
Because of the book, man.
Well, I know, but
it's because of the book
triggered.
But yeah, thank you.
Why
would you call it triggered when you're the one who's triggered?
Triggered, you're triggered.
He thinks that
he's triggering people.
He's like, if you watch this, you'll get triggered.
No, I'm actually just laughing at you, fucking fool. I mean, if you mean trigger laughter, yeah, sure. I mean, I guess because this is hilarious. This is 17 seconds. He's going to describe to you Ron DeSantis. Listen, and his voice. Listen to this.
Policy grounds or personality. Trump has the charisma of a mortician and the energy that makes Jeb Bush look like an Olympian. The policies of a DC swamp rat, because we've seen the flip-flops, right? You can
wait. This is not the clip I was thinking about, but
I thought that was a clip. I thought that was the one where he said Trump has the charisma of a mortician.
Well, I mean, he did say that.
Right.
He does.
I know what you're going to talk. You're going to talk about the high pitched voice one.
Yeah. But that was. I didn't even know that one existed.
Cool. Oh yeah, I thought that was the whole point. I thought you were going to talk about how the fact that Donald Trump.
Go ahead. You can talk about it. I haven't even seen that one yet.
Okay. All right. So in that clip that you saw, Don Jr. I don't know if he just
mortician.
Mortician. I don't know if he misread the teleprompter or somebody changed the text and they accidentally put or they like.
What the fuck is he supposed to say?
He was supposed to say DeSantis. DeSantis has the charisma of a mortician.
But he said
but
Trump.
Instead he said Trump had the charisma of a mortician.
It could be that he's just got his daddy on his brain.
I mean, too much. I mean, Trump derangement syndrome. It could be that.
How do you say your own
name?
It does,
I don't even know, right? I'm not even sure.
Even when you're reading it.
But
what?
When he misplaces the words, like, dude, man, you couldn't even catch what you said. Like, you're so deep in this like train of thought and reading off the teleprompter that you didn't even realize.
You didn't realize that you're reading your own goddamn name.
To Lisa, I'm Ron Burgundy. Like, I'm Donald Trump Jr., right?
What?
Like, I saw this last night and I was like, oh, God damn it. I have to do a what was that just on this, but also this other.
What is wrong with these people?
So what is funny, though,
this is just
about
ridiculous.
like the personality? Because at one point when I was listening, when Matt Gaetz was in the room, because the question to him was, hey, you've done debate prep for DeSantis and Trump. And Matt Gaetz is like, Ron DeSantis doesn't even have a personality. Like, that was his stance. I'm like,
dude,
whoa,
it was crazy because he's been fucking dragging DeSantis after the announcement. He was like, oh, that was the most boring announcement I've ever heard. It was talking points.
It was.
Already pre-rehearsed.
He's right.
Yeah.
I hate to agree with Matt Gaetz.
I was like, God damn it. I'm agreeing with these Trumpers right now that, yes, this is a fact. Ron DeSantis is boring. And that was the most fucking flat, boring announcement ever made.
It was so shitty. He even read the shitty speech shitty. Like, he could have at least practiced it a few times.
Like, there was a time where Gates said at the end,
he's
like,
nervous?
Ron DeSantis?
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no. I think that's just who he is, right? And so there was a moment where I was like, God damn it,
he's
I
not
agree
a very
with
social person.
Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, well, that's the tough part. That's why I said that night. I was like, I've never been on the Trump train, but choo, motherfucker.
But last night he was like, I don't know if anyone listened to the very end, if you like happen to like stay all the way through. But Ron DeSantis says, "Oh, this was fun. We should do it again." And then Matt Gaetz goes, "I don't know anyone who was listening that was like, oh yeah, we should definitely do this again." And I was like,
hey,
man,
this is gonna be fun.
So here's Donald Trump Jr. Talking about Ron DeSantis's voice. Right, this is this clip. He's talking about Ron DeSantis' voice. Notice what he says about it, and see if he practices.
Freeze frame.
See if he Is this what he looks like right after he does a line off the table?
Mm-hmm. He's like, Joe Biden.
You think that's what he says after every line he does?
And he goes, Joe Biden. Like, he gets the more lines he does, he's like, Joe Biden. He gets higher and higher in pitch.
And more nasally, right? More high, more nasally.
Then, Kimberly's like, she's like, Junior, what's going on? What's going on? And he's like,
will you stop?
Joe Biden.
Like,
thank you.
Hold on.
Well, and I think Miller's thing happened post 9/11. That he had a panic attack about 9/11, being doing SNL in New York, spending a lot of time in New York, being from there kind of, and then oh my God, the Muslims are coming. And I think he had something in his brain like that. And I think for some folks,
because these guys are talking about the
I had a hard time
really
understanding why the overreaction, because it was certainly the lockdowns around COVID weren't actual lockdowns for one, but they also weren't extraordinary compared to. Everybody, the Republicans act like we did what China did. We by no means did that thing.
But if
China,
we did,
they
we would have been better off.
people
If we
in
did
their
something more
houses
similar
to
an
the
actual
point of
lockdown,
dying in fires, kid.
Well, that's the issue. Okay, so
literally,
and the people who are participating in it, breaking out. Humans just won't live that way. The only way you're going to solve out of that is we're gonna innovate out of that problem.
Well,
but their panic
it helps
was
to have the president take it seriously and let people know the severity of what's coming.
Look, I can't be the only person who drank bleach and shoved a light bulb up his ass just to see if it works.
I still have some ivermectin in the fridge, actually.
Do you really? It's good. I hear it's better chilled with. Is it chicken or fish? I always get it mixed up with what you take.
It works great with me. It's killed 3 horses I have, but I don't know.
That's right. I love how Joe Rogan took ivermectin and he goes, and it worked. I'm like, that's because you had parasites.
Yeah, but did you see the list of shit he was taking though?
Oh yeah,
he was taking about 73 things, and then he singled that. Oh, this is what worked right here.
That's what did it. Yeah.
That's the one
because you had worms.
Right there.
It killed the
and
worms.
a lot of money.
That's what it's for.
Attention.
Totally. So, there was that same snap in Dennis Miller's head. You could see that happening around COVID because of the extraordinary measures that had to be taken. And as soon as Trump did his 14 days to stop the spread or whatever the fuck that was, once that happened, there were a bunch of fucking people who went, here it comes, everything Alex Jones ever said. Agenda 21, FEMA camps, they're going to put us all in.
The frogs are actually gay.
We're boiling. The frog is boiling. The frog is boiling. Right? And then here we are fucking 2.5 years later and change. We have a vaccine for the disease that was novel at that time and an entire new technology to update that vaccine if there was something similar. If the next coronavirus that comes through, there will literally be... There's a methodology in place through mRNA vaccines and even the standard vaccination process to nip it in the bud in a way we previously didn't have to because we didn't confront this with modern technology. It's not 19
Plus the
fucking
fact
17.
that it was something that was researched and studied, that particular one, for a long time before this happened. It wasn't just like popped out and Trump made it in his lab.
We were looking at RNA.
He gets all the credit because he's down there with
the black dudes, by the way.
Right.
Well,
it had been sitting there on the shelf in some ways as a possible thing, and now it's going to be
it's fucking Muppets, man.
They're fucking weird. Speaking of weirdos, I'm going to go. Let's go to.
I'm going to actually
the dishonorable mention first because this is kind of an outlier in this whole narrative today that we have.
It was this late. It is just one of those great Fridays.
We couldn't go without mentioning that the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is in a world of hurt, and the craziest part is that he is having literal dumpster fires. Real actual dumpster fires outside his office in Texas. I haven't been following this.
Sorry, people are asking what GAC is. It's Great American Comeback.
Yeah, that's Ron DeSantis.
That's Ron DeSantis. Yeah, I was just saying. So GAC, GAC, Great American Comeback.
That's what.
And
that's Ron DeSantis.
So it's MAGA and GAC. Yeah.
They got the best fucking taglines, guys.
They do. Oh, man.
Only the best.
Anyway, sorry. Back to the AG.
Talking about taglines.
I don't want to get into
Okay, so the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has been under federal investigation for quite some time. It looks like he's going to be impeached. Has that moved forward at all?
Last
he's a corrupt motherfucker. Basically,
there's a big question of if everyone knew about these crimes, why did it just take until yesterday?
I know. It's like
because they're Republicans. I don't know if you know this.
Why is it taking so long?
The question is what was the breaking point?
Well, the breaking point is when someone fucking said in a hearing that this guy and there's a video of it somewhere if we can find it. I'm looking for the dumpster fire video, but in this hearing, someone says, "Hey, Ken Paxton says we don't want the feds. We're not going to help them investigate, and we're actually going to impede their investigation because I don't want."
But that's what the GOP was doing for a while.
Whoa! Wait, are you telling me the top law enforcement officer in the state said don't investigate crimes because he doesn't want that crime and that particular crime investigated? Here's the clip of that. I've got it here. This is articles. This is where they were passing articles of impeachment through committee. But I believe this is that the point? I just want to make sure I get this.
That's the one where they voted on it, right?
This is the vote. I'm looking for the one where the revelation that I'm talking about, where they're like, whoa, wait a second. Are you telling me that the top law enforcement official in the state said don't help the feds investigate this crime? I'm trying to find that one. Let's see. Go to videos. This fucking thing.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you check your text?
Right, but it's like when Sam.
Is that the one? No, that's a dumpster fire.
Well, that'll work. That'll work for now. See if you can find that. I don't know why I'm showing the dumpster fire. Because after this was announced, and it was voted through committee that he's going to be impeached, there was a dumpster fire, literally a dumpster fire outside his office. Now, this is a close-up video of the dumpster fire. There's several videos, and the fire department had to be called to put this dumpster fire out. But it looked like, and in this video, it looks like it too, a bunch of documents have been dumped in this dumpster and set on fire.
Oh, she's a COO.
Man, I don't know why that would be the case.
You see,
you're trying to hide something.
You look down in there and see there's a bunch of paper being burned in the dumpster fire.
Was it? So there's a lot of. There's.
I can announce
what
that because
started this, I guess, is there was the the drunk House Speaker, Dade Phelan.
Right.
Yeah, dumpster fire.
So Ken Paxton called him.
Oh no, that's a real
drunk.
dumpster fire that happened
and then
in
from
Texas.
what I understand is Phelan
Really
the one
happened.
that introduced the articles of impeachment.
It was an accident, by the way.
Well, again, I'm not steeped in the Texas politics, and I hope on Tuesday that we can get more insight from Texas Paul, because I'm sure he's following this a bit more on what actually is going on there. But the thing that I take from it is Ken Paxton is a corrupt piece of shit. And how he's been allowed to be the Attorney General of Texas, not only in re-elections, but also the Republicans not impeaching and getting rid of this son of a bitch is beyond me. But you know what? They love their criminals. That's what I was saying earlier about how even the DeSantis people aren't.
How do you keep electing criminals?
The DeSantis people aren't even attacking Trump on his convictions.
Trump,
like they're not yelling and screaming and rooftops.
But
they're
see,
like,
the thing is,
Trump
if he gets
loved
the
Fauci,
espionage
he shut
one,
down
he
the
will
country,
not
and Ron
qualify.
DeSantis didn't.
He will no longer
What?
be eligible
He's
to
charged
actually.
with 34 felonies, you dummies. His business has convicted on 17 fucking fraud felonies. His CFO is at Rikers.
No,
and
he's
is going to
not.
turn
He's
on
back.
him possibly
He's
in this
back home.
fucking current case. He's
Because
about to be
he may be
federally
back at
indicted and
Rikers.
indicted in Georgia on felonies.
Yep.
Why aren't you talking about this? Oh, yeah, because you can't talk about that because you believe that he's being harangued and you went on and on and on for months defending him that this is all political. So you can't make those arguments now because you won't allow yourself to fucking know the truth. And it's beautiful. I know that sounds like it's crazy, but folks, if Ron DeSantis and Team Ron DeSantis never comes at Trump about his convictions and his crimes, I'm telling you, Democrats are going to in 2024. They're going to lay into Donald Trump like crazy. That's why they want Donald Trump to be the nominee. And I'm saying it out loud. Democrats, liberals, leftists want Donald Trump to be the nominee.
100%.
Because it is not going to go well for them.
No.
It's just not. And the other thing, too, is if Donald Trump wins the nomination for the Republican National Committee, right, he will destroy Ron DeSantis. That means Ron DeSantis' political career is destroyed, absolutely destroyed. Did you find that video of the hearing where they had that revelation?
I can't find that. I keep finding videos of years past, obviously, but there's stuff is like, this is the so-called Republican Texas Speaker of the House. He can't speak through his drunken stupor, but somehow he can attack AG Paxton. So, like, I'm also hearing that it was a general investigating committee, but the thing is, I want to know who the articles of impeachment were brought up by. There's a committee, obviously, that votes on it and brings it forward, but who was in the committee that brought it to their
Who
attention?
brought the actual articles
Well, it's the general investigative.
Or did they bring up a bunch of people and just say,
by Andrew Murr?
Right. So my question is Phelan a part of that committee? Is Phelan the one that's recommending this behind the scenes, right? Because people are trying to make and I don't know if they're connected at all, but people are implying is that Paxton attacks Phelan and then Phelan comes after Paxton, whether directly or indirectly.
Right. Well,
so I don't know if that's the case or not.
Republicans have a history of being drunk on the House floor in Texas anyways. But here's a little bit on the committee where they were recommending
God's honest truth, no lie.
Or Attorney
God's
General
honest truth. There's so many videos of that shit.
Representative Guerin?
Yes.
Representative Longoria?
Aye.
Representative Spiller?
Aye.
There being 5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 present not voting, the motion prevails.
Just trying to make tech stuff again. Not kicking any.
So that's the committee voting to send articles of impeachment to the.
And I've got a more recent video.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I still want that fucking video.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that video.
I don't remember that video.
You mean the one where they say what, huh, who?
I don't think I've seen that video.
I don't. That's not sounding familiar.
I watched it the other day. Did I retweet it? Fuck, I don't know. I try to see. That's if you guys want a big secret out there in the audience of what we're going to talk about, just go to my timeline.
If you want the class syllabus,
right? Just go to my timeline. You'll see.
It's in
anything
Twitter.
I retweeted is shit we're going to talk about, or shit we have talked about, or shit I want to talk about if we make it to it. Now sometimes we get sidetracked and we have to watch other things. But we're gonna get to.
There was basically the clip, and I can't find it now. But the clip was. Oh, hold on. Is this it?
No, that's not the clip I'm looking for.
No. So this is in preparation. They're now passing out copies, but then there's another clip that I saw that's them actually handing out the copies on the House floor.
Right. When are they supposed to vote for the articles of impeachment of Kim?
I'm assuming soon. Well, 1 hour. Hold on. Let me see this other video.
Because don't they have to do it before they go out?
An hour
and they're going to be gone.
So I don't know. Maybe
forever.
Sometime today.
Right. The good news is that it seems that Ken Paxton, that corrupt motherfucker, is not going to be the Attorney General of Texas anymore. Now, whether he actually ends up in prison for the crimes that he's committed and the corruption that he's done,
right?
That'll be another story, and that'll be a whole nother.
It looks like the person to follow on this is Sergio Martinez Beltran.
Okay, do you have his Twitter account? Maybe that video.
Yeah, here's the video. We'll start with this. Here's the video of them walking down and putting on everyone's desk.
The actual articles?
The 20 articles of impeachment.
20 articles.
20. Jesus.
It says, Texas House panel adopted 20 articles of impeachment against.
20
so I just want to know,
articles.
What is in it?
As you will see, there are 20 proposed articles of impeachment alleging grave offenses, justifying the committee's unanimous recommendation.
Is this today's?
As you know, the committee met on Wednesday to hear a presentation of evidence by the committee's lawyers.
This is Friday.
Oh, I got it.
This presentation was the culmination of an inquiry that the committee began in March. Sergeants are also passing out copies of the hearing transcript.
Whoa.
So there it is. There's the.
So go to the next link that I sent you.
Is this the?
This is the 20 articles.
Okay. So this is the 20 articles of impeachment that they're passing out, is what you're saying. Okay. So here we got. Here is 7 counts of disregard of official duty, 2 counts of misapplication of public resources, 2 counts of constitutional bribery. Jesus Christ,
bribery.
2 counts of obstruction of justice. Sounds like a goddamn Republican. 3 counts of false statements and official records, also Republican. 1 count of conspiracy to attempted conspiracy, Republican. 1 count of dereliction of duty, certainly Republican. 1 count of unfitness for office, that has to be Republican. 1 count of abuse of public trust, nothing other than Republican. So there's your 20 articles of impeachment.
Look at that. 1 count of abuse.
Republican Attorney General and crook motherfucker, Ken Paxton,
we will see
from
you
the state of Texas
tomorrow.
So I want to move on because we're gonna run out of time.
I'm assuming it'll go the way that we think it will, which is like